Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight on our news.
The Frank Smith case hits yet another snag.
Police searching for the driver of a vehicle responsible for an early morning hit and run. That story straight ahead.
A November survey showing lowered expectations but satisfaction overall in the F&M.
About 30 teachers staging a sit-out here at the Stephen Dillard Primary School. Stay tuned, we have the details.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, bombshell information coming out of the Frank Smith bribery and extortion case today after it was revealed that only portions of the prosecution's key witness statement to police were disclosed to the defense. The move placed the prosecution's new lead counsel, British QC Edward Jenkins, on the defensive and prompted defense attorney Keith Knight to ask for the case to be thrown out. Jasmine Brown was in court and has all the details in this report.
While not a single witness took the stand today, a wealth of information was revealed inside court. Information that prompted the defense to label the case as sinister and call into question the actions of the Crown and investigators. Smith was back in court, and so was star witness Barbara Hanna. However, she did not take the stand as Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt instead spent nearly 3 hours listening to arguments from both Jenkins and Knight. The proceedings followed Monday's adjournment that was prompted by the prosecution's application to submit additional evidence. According to Jenkins, who was a British Queen's Counsel, the prosecution uncovered additional information after he took the lead on the case. Today, he revealed that additional information had to do with bank reduction orders Hanna had with 4 local banks, as well as a statement taken from investigator Superintendent Ewell Johnson. In the statement that was dated February 26, 2018, Johnson included additional information he had taken from Hanna last July, including the fact that she had submitted Commonwealth Bank receipts to police. Knight, who hails from Jamaica, argued that the defense was only served with Superintendent Johnson's statement on Tuesday, nearly 6 months after his client was charged. He pointed out that under cross-examination in December, Crown Counsel Anthony Delaney denied that the AG's office had received any receipts from police, even after Delaney called Johnson to inquire about those documents. Knight says the case has evolved beyond shoddiness and is now sinister and outrageous as he alleged prosecutorial misconduct in the case. He said while he had no doubt that Delaney spoke honestly, he believes counsel was misled, and he insisted it was not a credibility issue, but also an issue of manipulation and selective use of Hanna's initial statement to police. In response to Knight, Jenkins said all he sought to do was forewarn the defense about the additional evidence and added that he had asked questions that were previously not asked by the Crown as he wanted to leave no stone unturned. He also said he was determined to do his job. Chief Magistrate Pratt ruled on the defense's application to dismiss the case, saying it would be premature as she wanted to hear Superintendent Johnson's testimony on the stand. She also expressed concern with the frequent delays in the case, saying it is a matter of national importance, as she noted the new information that has surfaced in recent days has contributed to the delay. The case was adjourned to May 14th to allow time for the banking documents to be obtained and to sort out conflicts in both sides' schedules. Smith, who is the former chairman of the Public Hospital Authority, is on trial after he allegedly demanded Hanna pay him $5,000 per month for assistance in helping her get a contract with the PHA. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, the multi-billion-dollar deal government signed with Oban Energies is still stirring up questions among the opposition. At an Eastern Regional Branch meeting Wednesday night, opposition leader Philip Davis questioned how government could proceed with such a deal when so many questions about the company and the integrity of its leaders remain. Days after Philip Davis told our news he hopes the multi-billion-dollar oil refinery project is a success, the opposition leader lashed the government, which he says made the reckless decision to move forward with Oban Energies. He also questioned the company's oil background.
How could Prime Minister Minnis make an agreement with a company that has no real background in oil? How could the Prime Minister hitch the good name of the Bahamian people to a project which has no environmental impact assessment done. Where are our environmentalists, the activists who so care about our environment now? Where are they?
Last week, government signed a heads of agreement with Florida-based Oban Energies for a $5.5 billion oil refinery and storage facility on Grand Bahama. Davis says before the ink had dried, serious concerns were raised over the deal. He added the opposition and the Bahamian people are eagerly waiting for the government to table the deal. It was anticipated that the agreement would be tabled last week in the House of Assembly. However, that did not happen.
Why do you think they run? As the pressure built, Bahamians were left in shock, and even F&M supporters were dumbfounded as the revelations of this proposed deal came to light. Pierre Menace does not have the skill of due diligence. His decision to proceed with Oban proves reckless and lacks the good judgment that should be exercised from his high office of Prime Minister.
The PLP leader also hit out at Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, who in 2015 accused the former government of going to bed with unsavory characters by awarding an exploratory drilling license to a company whose principal was reportedly being sought by police. Minnis said back then that birds of a feather flock together. However, now that it has been revealed that the chair of Oban pled guilty to felony charges and was accused of violating U.S. federal securities laws, Davis says this.
Birds of a feather are now flocking together.
Oban executives last week said the company is far along in completing its environmental impact assessment and expects it to be complete within 45 days.
And while we all are praying for Grand Bahama, which needs urgent critical attention, the perception that some jobs were coming with Oban, we all know too well that such jobs will not be immediate. If something was to be salvaged, and we hope to God that something may be salvaged from this deal. In fact, after all the pressure and careful work by the media last week, Oban's website has vanished.
Our News has, however, confirmed that the Oban Energies website is up and running. Davis said he will continue to hold government to account, asking if Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis was willing to reveal whether anyone in his cabinet has interests in the company. Meanwhile, Davis says the Prime Minister may be satisfied with Bamboo Town MP Renward Wells' explanation for signing a controversial letter of intent back in 2014, but he isn't. At last night's meeting, Davis said there are lingering questions.
When the member for Bamboo Town signed a letter of intent and failed in election, I guess his explanation may have satisfied you. But I'm still wondering who directed him to sign that LOI.
Wells signed that LOI with Stellar Waste to Energy Bahamas Limited in 2014 when he was still a Progressive Liberal Party Member of Parliament. Wells said he signed the LOI without necessary approval but never explained why. While Davis says the Free National Movement's campaign pledge of openness, honesty and transparency is nothing more than a sham and fake news.
The Prime Minister is going around the world, and this really upsets me. It irks me. He goes around the world eroding further eroding the credibility of the Bahamas, calling Bahamians corrupt. My God, that's why others could talk about us bad and think they can get away with it. If the Prime Minister leads the charge.
In other news, police are searching for the driver of a rental car that struck an early morning jogger on West Bay Street and kept going. The vehicle was found hours later with extensive damage. Jared Higgs has the details.
An empty pair of running shoes and a lifeless body are what officers of the Traffic Division met on the scene this morning after receiving reports of an early morning hit and run that claimed the life of a female jogger. As authorities search for the driver of the vehicle that struck the woman and left her to die, Assistant Commissioner of Police Ken Strawn provided these details.
Shortly after 4 a.m. this morning, a female resident of the area of Cable Beach was doing her early morning jog along West Bay Street in the area of Quality Food Markets, when unfortunately she was struck by a white SD vehicle which was traveling east along the Cable Beach Strip. According to eyewitnesses' account, the female having been struck by this vehicle, the driver pulled to the south side of the highway and continued going east from this location.
According to police, the vehicle was found abandoned in the Cable Beach Street area with extensive damage to the front windshield, roof, and front bumper. The accident shut down traffic in the eastbound lane of West Bay Street as investigators searched for clues and a small crowd gathered nearby.
Strawn says this fatality is the 15th for the year, an alarming number of those incidents involving hit-and-run drivers. The 14th incident took place yesterday on a roadway in southern New Providence.
The police were summoned to the area of Cowpen Road near to Lazaretto, looking for a man who seemed a bit distressed walking along the street. Unfortunately, the police came upon this individual a short time later, having been struck by a vehicle. He was taken to the accident and emergency section of the Princess Margaret Hospital and unfortunately died sometime around 9 p.m. as a result of injuries sustained in that mishap.
According to police, the driver of the vehicle in that incident remained on scene and is assisting police with their investigation. Meanwhile, Strawn pleaded with walkers.
We are likewise asking those of you who continue to use the streets as pedestrian, remember to look out for yourself. Be safe. Stay to the sides of the street. The sidewalks are there for a reason. We encourage those of you who continue to travel early mornings along the various corridors. Ensure that your clothing is such that persons can see you while you're moving along the streets. And we are asking once again for drivers to continue to exercise extreme caution and care.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jared Higgs.
A survey of 1,000 random households has revealed that more than half are somewhat satisfied with the Minnis administration's performance. However, it also revealed that a relatively large percentage of people are undecided on their confidence in the current government. Kyle Joaquin has the breakdown.
We spoke with the firm's president, Mwale Raming. He said based on these numbers, the Minnis administration should be very, very concerned for numerous reasons, but mainly because he said it's still very early in their term.
The survey was conducted in November and polled 1,000 people, each from a different household throughout the country. The first question, in general, do you feel the Bahamas is going in the right or wrong direction? 15% strongly agreed, saying the F&M government is definitely going in the right direction. 33% said somewhat right. 14% said the direction is somewhat wrong, and 19% said the F&M government is definitely going in the wrong direction. But there's this chunk of people, 20%, who were unsure.
While the numbers may be been similar, the difference would have been the 20% who can't express an opinion. That number is normally in the single digits and normally in the low single digits. And the fact that it's at 20% is worrisome for me for this administration.
Since coming to office 10 months ago, the government has had to battle a number of issues, from concerns over the nationality of a cabinet minister, to a flip-flop on VAT exemption for over-the-hill communities, to numerous terminations in various government departments. And now concerns over a new multi-billion-dollar signing for Grand Bahama and the fraudulent past of a key player in that deal. But the F&M government has also had some highlights since its landslide victory in May, which Raming said could explain why 42% of the people surveyed are somewhat satisfied with the current government.
What's interesting for me is the difference between the right direction, wrong direction, and government satisfaction. And so what we're seeing there, what I believe we're seeing there is people are used to things not going in the right direction. So they're saying, fine, yeah, it's going in the right direction, but my satisfaction is less than my right direction, meaning that I'm used to not being satisfied. Right. So I'm sort of throwing that out there, and yeah, sure, I'm fine with that. And for me, that's something that will take a long time to change. And that new hope that we had when the new administration came in, new beginning and all of that, that needs to be rekindled, and the Bahamian people need to be re-inspired.
14% of the people surveyed said they were very satisfied with the current government. 42% somewhat satisfied, 15% somewhat dissatisfied, and 13% very dissatisfied. 16% weren't sure about this one. While these 1,000 people overall show that just over 50% are somewhat satisfied with the new administration, year one for them is still not complete.
I think there's some good news and some bad news in there for the administration. It's that people are saying that it's going in the right direction, but not overwhelmingly so. And there are a large segment, 1 in 5 Bahamians, who cannot express opinion on whether it's going in the right direction or the wrong direction. Now that 20% sort of worries me, because it means that I want to say yes, but I've not been convinced that it is so far. And that is a danger because that is easy to slide into the wrong direction.
For our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Still to come on our News, dozens of teachers at Stephen Dillard walk off the job. Plus, a poll shows Bahamians are against salary increases for MPs. That's coming up when our News returns.